We've arrived at the final chapter of the championships, Wimbledon 2023. The fortnight has been bursting with stories, and we're going to write one more today. It has been a memorable championships here at the All England Club, and the fans are arriving. We've got our hats on and sunglasses. It's a beautiful day. The Pimm's has been poured, and we're going to crown a gentleman's singles champion, as well as hand out a few other trophies today. These are the gents doing battle. There's Carlos Alcaraz looking for a second major, and this guy, Novak Djokovic, looking for a record 24th, getting in their final steps before the men's final today. We've got cameras all around the grounds. This is how we roll on Aorangi Hour. We give you behind-the-scenes access all hour long.
First set, Novak Djokovic to serve. Ready, play.
This is a masterclass.
Real bit of razzle-dazzle.
Oh, what a point.
Oh! He can't believe it. That is a triumph.
Flawless from Djokovic. Incredible. She's done it.
Oh, what a shot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's unbelievable
You
finish.
have to love what we have just seen.
The 129th stage of the ladies' final. Vondrousova is the unseeded champion.
We've got the final we wanted.
Well, welcome in, and guess what? Center court getting its final dressings ready for the men's final. The gentlemen are taking to this court in just a few minutes' time. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever you're watching around the world, welcome to the Cathedral of Tennis, to center court. This is the Aorangi Hour. We're going to talk all things men's final today. We're also going to break down the women's final from yesterday. Myself, Nick McCarville, joined alongside Daniela Hantakova and Sonia Mirza. And wow, how amazing is it to be here, center court, courtside again. I think we all have goosebumps.
Definitely, Nick. It's something so special when we enter the club on the last Sunday, and just the way the club goes about everything. There was music playing on early on during the day, and just seeing the guys warming up and getting ready. I just love the fact how they arrive. It looks like they arrived here by themselves, but their team already set up everything.
It's like 10, 15 people behind them.
Noah's got the shoes there right in front of his chair ready so that he can slip into them, and everything.
Seriously.
By now, everything's about the habits, and they don't.
It's almost mechanical now, right? And I think anyway, Novak is so mechanical, right? Anyway, whatever he does it according to plan. But I just want to say, what a beautiful day. It's nice to have the roof open today. I mean, the winds, it's a bit breezy, but it's still beautiful. It's blue. The skies are blue, which is a change over the last few days.
Sure
so
is.
we're excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited. We're going to have some fun this show. We're going to break down the women's final, of course. We're also going to talk about the gentlemen's to come. And there's a lot of other tennis. The juniors have finals today, the wheelchair event. And also, as these two Grand Slam champions know, the women's doubles trophy will be hoisted today. We're going to talk about that as well. But let's get stuck in first to the women's final, to the ladies' singles just yesterday, and Marketa Vondrousova. I mean, this was hugely impressive from Vondrousova, Sonia, but a disappointing one for Jabeur. It was, as we talked about, one between the ears yesterday.
It really was, and I think that it wasn't really about the tennis yesterday. Of course, Vondrousova played really, really well. I think Daniela said it right yesterday. It was between the ears, and the fact is, it was more about the belief. And I think, I was talking with Kim off camera, on camera, and she was saying the same thing. Like, Ons just looked a lot more nervous. She looked nervous when she was warming up here when we saw her. She was sitting in the locker room before the match by herself eating a plate of rice. And then you had Marketa sitting with her entire team upstairs laughing like half an hour before she played. So it just I think summed up how they were feeling in that moment. And I think you could see it on court. I mean, I really don't think Ons was anywhere close to her best. I mean, even when she showed just flashes of it, but when it mattered, she wasn't able to show up. And that's not because of her tennis or her physical game. And you almost felt so bad for her in that moment because she wanted it so badly.
I think there was just way too much thinking on side of the court. And when you look at it, that first set, she could have won that 6-love.
Yeah.
Every single game, there was a game point for her. Where looking at Marketa here, like just the way she moves around the club now as the member. And as you said, Sanya, before the match, it looked like she was going to play some club match outside of Prague. That's how the Czech players, when they approach this court, they just don't get tight because they've seen Martina Navratilova winning here 9 times. So they think that's a normal thing to do on Saturday afternoon. And even when she was up in the match, I was like, okay, Ons had her chances, she got tied, she has not played her best tennis. Let's see what Marketa does when, you know, she has the opportunity to win the biggest match of her life.
Yeah.
Didn't get tied for 1 second.
She delivered.
But
she did.
I especially liked how she finished the match. You know, she didn't doubt herself for a second, and she went 4 straight points in a row in that last game. She did everything that she really needed to. She came into the net, she hit first serves in, and the fact is that at the end of the day, a big final is not so much about the tennis. Everybody knows you know how to play good tennis, which is why you are in the final. It is what goes on over here and how you approach that final.
And also, I feel like Ons, every time she broke Vondrousova, she was kind of hoping that, okay, now...
Yeah, that was the feeling, wasn't it?
Marketa's going to give it to me. In the finals, no one is going to give you anything. No. And with all that pressure she had on her shoulders and entire world watching what she was going to do, I feel like, okay, now I've got the match and now it's going to go my way.
Yeah.
That just
didn't happen.
No.
And Jabeur led in both those sets, actually 4-2 the first set, 3-1 in the second set, was not able to get it done. Wow, Marketa Vondrousova, your first ever unseeded ladies singles champion here at Wimbledon. What about after that match? It was the men's doubles, and for the first time, Wesley Koolhof and Neil Skupski, they can call themselves Grand Slam champions, denying once again for Granollers and Zeballos they haven't been able to win a slam yet.
Yeah, and you know, it was too good from Skupski Koolhof, honestly. I mean, I think that they've been doing everything right except winning Grand Slams. So it was befitting that as the #1 team in the world, they win that Grand Slam. And obviously for Neil, I mean, he's been able to do what not a lot of English players have been able to do, or British players have been able to do. He's won mixed twice here in the last 2 years. He's come here, won the men's doubles now. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than that for someone who is from this country. So I'm really happy for him. They're really nice guys, and they really deserve to win. Your heart does go out to Granollers or Zeballos. They've been sticking together for so many years, and they've made so many finals together. They're just not able to get over the line, and maybe that's a little bit like what Ons was feeling as well, you know, because it's such a mental thing. When you lose as many finals as you do, you start thinking, am I supposed to win this? Am I meant to win a Grand Slam?
It does get mental.
It does get
I triple checked my stats yesterday. I was right. Okay, you had me tight yesterday after the show. All right, we talk about the men's doubles. Danielle, this one's going to be amazing. Hunter and Mertens taking on Shea Su Wei and Barbara Strycova. Strycova, another Czech player into the final. We're so happy to have her back. But how about these 4 players? They know each other very well.
They do, Nick, and it's going to be such an exciting one. And I'm obviously super happy for Barbara, her last Wimbledon. And she's kind of playing also with the house money, just like Vondrousova. You know, she has nothing to lose. Obviously, she wants to go all the way the last time she stepped on the court. But it's going to be tough because all these 4 players are amazing doubles players. They have so much experience. And I think we're going to see incredible quality tennis. And yeah, let's see if the Czechs take another Wimbledon back to Prague. It's incredible how it is just such a casuality for the Czech players to do well here in the All England Club.
Yeah, and Shea and Mertens actually won this title together. Now they're taking on one another in today's final. That's after the gentlemen's singles. Now, listen, we're on center court. This is the cathedral of tennis, but Wimbledon's global. Sanya knows that from an Indian perspective. Daniela, you know it from a European perspective. But here's my hometown, baby, NYC, the Hill at Wimbledon in New York, which is so cool to see. It's at Brooklyn Bridge Park, and it gives fans the opportunity in New York to check it out. You've got strawberries and cream. You've got all of the famous Wimbledon aspects for New York fans. And actually, I've got a few friends that are checking that out today. It's a really cool aspect. And Wimbledon has really gone so global. I think you feel that in India as well, too, right?
For sure. They actually did a little bit of a similar thing in India where they got like a big screen put up and they had a thing around it. And I think that's just because Wimbledon is so special. You know, in every country, I know that we have 3 more Grand Slams, but as children, when we're growing up, we all want to play here. We all want to play on the green grass,
Same
right?
for you too.
Yeah, well, for me it was the Olympics because that was the first
of
time
course, yeah.
I saw tennis on TV. But any country in the world, when you say Wimbledon, all the kids want to pick up rackets. So this is such a wonderful promotion of our sport, and I like it how the Grand Slams stick together and do their best to promote and help
each other,
because it is at the end of the day about these 4 tournaments.
It's really cool, and I mean, Wimbledon has become so global. How about this? A new Grand Slam champion, Marketa Vondrousova, just chilling out today. These are just from earlier hanging out with her family. We were talking about pre-match, and actually, let's go ahead and take a look at, well, this is today. Let's take a look at Marketa and her winning moment just yesterday.
What a wonderful reception from the almost 15,000 fans that have gathered here. It's a walk Jabeur took 12 months ago. For Vondrousova, an unexpected championships for them that has never been beyond the second round here.
First set, Jabeur.
Teď backhand jen tak přešel pásku a Tunisanka Ons Jaberová se toho teď nelekla a úderem počáře teď srovnává na 30 obě.
Back in charge is Jabeur. She's got to be absolutely thrilled. Vondrousova.
Jabeur wondering what has just happened over the last 40 minutes. And the unseeded Marketa Vondrousova has taken this opening set. Five games in a row now for the Czech.
So many momentum swings.
Well, the Czech one game away now from a Wimbledon title. Vondrousova is the unseeded champion. For a second in a row, the beaten finalist. What a story. The first unseeded ladies champion in the Open era.
Jaberová. Tak tedy Marketa Vondrousová, ještě jednou to připomenu, vyhrála tenisový Wimbledon z Londýna. Jaroslav Klašil, Radiožurnál.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference for On Jabeur. Please raise your hand, state your name and organisation when asking your question.
I believe Kim Clijsters, Chris Evert and Simona Halep all lost their first 3 Grand Slam finals. And
Four, actually. Kim was
won
just
2
telling me. We were crying together at the locker room. And yeah, she was telling me all the time that she lost 4, I think. That's why I know the information, otherwise it would be tough. But yeah, I think that's the positive out of it. You could not force things. It wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be.
I cannot show it them.
No, no.
Don't take the beer in. When people give it to you, you come back out.
Hi Marketa, you said that you planned to get a new tattoo tomorrow and that Jan was going to be getting one as well. Have you had time to think about what that might be and, as importantly, what his might be as well?
I think I'll choose for him, you know, but maybe we'll get the same one, you know. We talked before the tournament and he said, yeah, so maybe if you win a Grand Slam, then I'll do it, you know, and then this is happening. So I hope he's not gonna, you know, back and I think I'm just gonna, you know, make him do it. So we'll see, but I hope we can make it happen here.
Oh, so nice. Which is that all pivo or champagne? No, cookies and she had a beer already, so
really? One, two? Let's check.
Just one.
Okay.
Did you book your apartment for the whole 2 weeks or just 1 week planning on going home?
So we had the house till Wednesday, so I was like, that's too much, you know, we're gonna leave sooner. And then I texted my agent and I was like, just told them like I have to stay here more. I'm not gonna change now.
Bye.
Thanks. Hola, Marketa.
Well, some really special moments there yesterday for our new Wimbledon champion. And how about some special moments here on the player lawn? It's the Prince and Princess of Wales, and also with Prince George and Prince Charlotte as well. This is the young man there on your right that's going to toss the coin later today. That's all the ceremonies getting ready. There's so much pomp and circumstance leading up to the final. But you've seen it before, I think, at home, that famous players' walk. How does that feel for the players? And Keathavong has done the walk herself.
Today is the final day of the championships, and in a few hours' time, Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz will be walking out from the gentlemen's dressing room onto centre court for the men's singles final. If you've ever wondered how that walk takes place, well, just follow me as we walk down the corridor here. The players, no doubt, will be feeling nerves, butterflies in their tummy. Will they look out and wave to the public, or will they just keep their head down and remain focused? As we walk around the corner, you can see the winners' names from last year, Novak Djokovic up there, and Spencer Gore, your first gentlemen's singles champion back in 1877. Maud Watson, 1884, first ladies singles champion. But keep coming. Round this corner, the honours board. See Novak Djokovic's name there a few times? The man hasn't lost on centre court since 2013, which is remarkable. They'll continue their walk into the clubhouse, and just in the corner there, Marketa Vondrousova was lifting the Venus Rosewater dish yesterday in front of an adoring crowd. What a fantastic effort that was from her. But the players will continue on their walk, perhaps taking in the beautiful art as they walk past the members' club room and through here onto the members' landing. The players will continue their walk onto the members' landing, where guests of the Royal Box will be here before the match, enjoying a drink before they make their way out there to greet the players. And the players will continue their walk down these famous steps And as the players continue their way down these steps, they'll perhaps glance to the trophy cabinet or look up to the famous words of Kipling. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. As they are held here with the referee, Jerry Armstrong, another look to the trophy cabinet. I mean, what a stunning trophy that is. They will then be asked to walk out onto the most iconic court in tennis, centre court.
I would like to say that Anne Keathavong was about to walk out that door. Well, she's not going to, but there it is, the famous walkout onto center court. Anne, thank you for that, giving us behind-the-scenes look at those final nervous moments. Now, those are going to be the final strides for Novak Djokovic and for Carlos Alcaraz, but let's look at the road for Novak onto center court today and into the final.
Ambition is always the highest for me, you know, always to win the title. So it's not changing regardless of the place in history. Pressure is there. It's still very high. I still feel, you know, goosebumps and butterflies and nerves coming into every single match. So I'm going to be coming into the Sunday's final like it's my first. You know, I don't want to approach that finals in any more relaxed way than I have, you know, previous ones. Meaning the intention needs to be clear, and you know, goal and approach will be as serious and professional as it has been always. This is probably the most anticipated finals, I guess, from the beginning of the tournament. Most of the people, you know, Alcaraz and myself, and it will be his first finals in Wimbledon. He's so young, but he's incredibly consistent now. Also on grass, which I don't think many people expected him to play so well, because his game is built and constructed and developed for clay mostly, or slower hard courts, but he's been incredibly successful in adapting to the surfaces and demands and challenges of the opponents on a given day. Yes, I do have more experience playing in many more Grand Slam or Wimbledon finals than him, but you know, still he's in great shape. He's very motivated. He's young. He's hungry. I'm hungry too, so let's have a feast.
Novak Djokovic saying that he knows Carlos is hungry, and so is Novak. They're going to feast on this lawn today. Hopefully we're going to see a feast of tennis. Welcome back into Aorangi Hour. Nick McCarville alongside Daniela Hantuchova and Sonia Mirza, who both, I must say, did play the junior event here. I won't say how many years ago, but it really is such an important stage for the young players, for the future stars. We're looking at Henry Searle today, could be the first British boy to win the championship here in 60 years. How about some of these recognizable names? But Sonia, I want to start with you. As we look at the former junior champions here, it's also a place where a lot of the agents, a lot of the who's who in the other side of tennis, the decision makers, are looking for the next stars of the game.
Yes, they are, and I think the juniors are the future stars, right? I mean, you can just see from the names, like how many names are there that have won the juniors and then become #1 in the world. I mean, you have Iga Swiatek, you have Martina Hingis, you have Amelie Mauresmo, and not just that, like you said, it is also a huge brand value. I mean, the agents pick them up and they kind of support them. The big, the big brands come into play, and this is where the foundation is, right? This is where you have to start supporting the kids for them to actually go to that next level. So I know for a fact, because it happened with me as well. Yeah. So I know for a fact that there's a really good Indian boy who's been supported by a certain agency, and they're really backing him, and they're backing him to be that next thing to come out of that part of the world. So.
And I think think more than anywhere, Wimbledon is the one that you really want to watch out who is winning, because other slams sometimes you look like, oh, what happened to those players? But I think it's because of the technique, Nick. On grass, you really have to be sound technically. You can't really, like this surface kind of underlines all the weaknesses you have. So there's extra attention here with the agents. I would say half of the crowd that comes to watch the junior matches is, you know, the sponsors and potential agencies. They want to manage these players. And just looking at those past winners, I was trying to do the math quickly there. Martina in 94, so she was like, what, 14?
Yeah, Hingis, yep.
And then she won it a year later here, or what?
So, you know, the chances if you do well in juniors on grass, you are going to have a natural game for this surface, because you just need 1-2 years to get used to it, and you are going to transfer most likely to the main event.
Because the surface is very unforgiving.
Yeah,
you know?
That's so interesting. I haven't thought about that before, to be honest.
And the surface requires you to be technically sound, because if you're not technically sound, you're not going to make the ball over the net on the surface.
Where on hard or clay, you know, in the juniors, 1 year of physical difference is going to win you matches. Where on grass, you kind of have to throw that out of the window. So this is a surface. If I'm an agent, I would just really pay attention to the results here at Wimbledon, not really worry about the other slams, because as we know, there are so many ways and things that can still affect your career. So, you know, a little bit maybe of an educational corner. I would say the chances that someone's going to make it, not that high. So education, study, number one priority.
It's so interesting too, and obviously I think the junior players are quite aware, aren't they, that some of those agents are sitting in the stands and perhaps looking out, scouting them for what's going to come next. All right, so those are the stars of the future. What about the stars of today? And as we've been talking about, of course, it's Novak Djokovic going for a 24th major. Carlos Alcaraz is the U.S. Open champion from just last year. And what about some of the numbers in this matchup? Here's Carlos just earlier. I watched this practice actually from the balcony above court 14. Nothing special. He just went through the steps, Sonia, to make sure that he is absolutely ready to go today against Novak.
No, for sure. And he's been talking about the fact that how he, is in awe of Novak in many ways. But I think that being the number one player in the world, he backs himself and his team backs him. He has to back himself at this point. I mean, he's been playing great, and especially coming off the semi-final that he is coming off of after beating Medvedev. You know, I mean, I think everything over here works in his favor. You know, this is the best result he's had here at Wimbledon. He's been great. Obviously, as you can see, he's winning points from defensive positions. He's turning defense into offense, and he's been closer to the baseline. He's been playing really well. He has to back himself here and understand that Novak is going for some huge history here. So that has to be playing on Novak's mind as well somewhere. I know he's a genius, but there has to be. He's still human.
It's interesting you point that out, because in 2021, when Novak was going for the Grand Slam at the U.S. Open, that's when Medvedev took advantage of that. Carlos going through the steps there. And the defense to offense is so huge for Carlitos, isn't it?
Mentioning Nick Medvedev there, that's the match I was going to mention, where he really sent a strong message to the locker room, to Novak. Hey, this is how I'm capable of playing on the center court, because that match was unbelievable. Daniel was playing great tennis as well. And I'm going to go back to that first round at Queens, where, you know, Tim Henman, who knows more than anyone about how to play on grass, we are doing the match of Carlos and thinking, okay, you know, it might take him still a while to start feeling comfortable on the grass. Maybe in 1 year time he will be ready to do well, and then 1 week later he's picking up the trophy there, and a couple of weeks later here we are talking about him eventually winning the tournament. So the improvement he has made over the last 2-3 weeks has been just out of this world.
You can see that strange number next to Novak Djokovic's name. It is 2, and it is the 51st time we're getting a Grand Slam matchup between 1 and 2 in the world. In the men's side, 25 wins to the number 1 seed, 25 wins to the number 2 seed. And Sonia, they're not only playing for the Wimbledon title, they're also playing for the number 1 ranking in the world. We were talking about some of the defense, Sonia, for Carlos Alcaraz, but Novak is also, this is an aspect we don't talk about enough with him, is how good he is locked in on his serve. You can see 97% this holding serve the second most in this championship.
You know, we don't talk about how good Novak's serve is because he returns that well. You know, because he does everything else that well. It's almost unassuming how good he serves because he sets up so much. He doesn't get broken often, and that's probably not because how good his serve is. It's because how good his second shot is, how he defends a serve, even if he doesn't get too many like aces or free points from it. And because the serve has been something that he has been a little vulnerable on compared to the rest of his game, you know, with his bouncing or whatever it may be, you know, at the end of the day, we don't really talk about it, but it is unbelievable. 97%, what kind of a stat is that?
Yeah,
you know,
crazy.
it's ridiculous. So
I think that's the biggest difference that Goran has made in Novak's career.
Ivanisevic.
Absolutely, and he's just so accurate with his targets, and he's got a beautiful wrist action, so he can really change the direction at the very last second. And you know, we talk so much about this final, and to me, it almost has the feel of a match of a decade, because there is you know the generation differences on the table. I almost feel a little bit sorry for Novak that he's now left in this fight against the next gen on his own, that Roger, Rafa nowhere near, Andy as well, neither, so he kind of has to hold his ground by himself. And
don't you think he loves it though?
I think he likes it too. Don't you?
I mean, he's making statements saying 36 is the new 26.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
But at the same time, having to play someone that's 16 years younger in the finals, that's not going to be easy if they go the distance to the fifth set. So there is so much on the line for both Carlos and Novak, and he loves it. Yeah, absolutely. Nole wants to.
I want to ask you, do you think that the Roland Garros semifinal, even though it's a completely different surface and all that we know, but the fact that physically he outlasted Alcaraz, do you think that gives him a mental edge?
I think winning that match for Novak was more important than anything else that happens this year, because there was, you know, everyone was expecting Carlos to win, and so it will be interesting today, because now we are talking about Nole being the favorite, and let's see how he can manage it. That we saw what happened yesterday with Ons having so much pressure on her shoulders, Nole obviously being in that situation so many times and going through it successfully, but now he's the favorite in Roland Garros. No one was going for Novak, and Carlito was the one under pressure. Now he's playing with house money.
Yeah, he sure is. He's got Juan Carlos Ferrero on his side, and we know he's into his first. Look at that big smile. I love it. We know he's into his first Wimbledon final. Let's see how he got there.
Gives you extra, you know, motivation. I think it's more special to play, you know, final against a legend, you know, from our sport. If you know, I win, it would be amazing for me. Not only, you know, win a Wimbledon title, but do it against Novak would be super special, you know. But I always say that if you want to beat the best, you have to beat the best, you know. And Novak is one of them, so it would be great, you know, if I'll do it. I'll do it something different, you know. Before the matches, I prepared the match a little bit different, you know, from French Open. So it's gonna be different for me. I hope not to get cramped in the final, but I think I'll be better on Sunday. Being the guy he is right now, and everything he has been through is amazing, and he has no weakness. He's a really complete guy, really complete player. He's amazing, you know. He does nothing wrong on the court. Physically, he's a beast. Mentally, he's a beast. Everything is unbelievable for him. So. I think it's a mix of everything that I admire him the most. Playing a final here in Wimbledon is something that I dream about when I started playing tennis. And as I said before, it's even better playing against Novak. So it's going to be a really emotional moment for me, but I'll try to stay calm in that moment. But you know, probably with for Novak is, you know, one more day, you know, one more moment. But for me, it's gonna be the best moment of my life, I think.
Well, the hill is absolutely getting packed here for the men's final later today, and I love that from Alcaraz. You know, I like that he's open about saying that this is going to be one of the moments of his life, and for Novak Djokovic, it's just another day at the office. But I actually think that helps Carlos Alcaraz in a way that he's willing and able to meet the challenge, and gosh, we're so excited to bring you that final later today on broadcasters around the world on this very cathedral of tennis. Can we feel the tension building?
I don't feel as much tension with Carlito because he loves it. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the smile is going to be, and that's why he's already #1 in the world. That, you know, after to feel in the shoes of Roger, Novak and Rafa with the next generation, I mean, he's doing an incredible job and he just does not get tired. The more occasion, the bigger the match, the more relaxed he is. And he said it himself, you know, when I struggle, I just like to smile because I like to remember myself that, you know, I love playing for the joy of the game, for the love. And he's able to keep that kind of perspective, you know, when he plays those big points, and that makes the difference at the end of the day.
It was going to be so interesting to watch. And now Carlos Alcaraz is the young gun, right, in men's tennis. But also, if we take a look at the wheelchair events, there's been a few young guns in the wheelchair event. This is a look at Niels Vink. This is the quad division, and Niels Vink, the Dutchman, capturing the title there. And look at the celebration from Niels. Such a class act, and the Dutch program, of course, Esther Vergeer, she's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame later this year. Dita de Groot, she just won her 12th consecutive major. And Niels Vink, that's nice with Keith Davidson embracing at the net. Niels is just 20 years old. Also in action right now is the British player, Alfie Hewitt, taking on Takito Oda. This is the men's wheelchair division, and it is on the #1 court. You actually can see it there on the big screen at the hill, and Oda taking on Hewitt. And this is breaking. Takito Oda has defeated Alfie Hewitt. So Alfie not able to capture that Wimbledon crown. He lost last year to Shingo Kuneda, arguably the best ever men's wheelchair player. And Takito Oda, who is just 17 years old. Really cool. Niels Vink, congratulations, and Takito Oda as well. So very excited for those guys, and we're going to get stuck back into our chat here about the men's final. And we were talking a little bit about the dynamic from the Roland Garros semifinal. And if you don't follow tennis all the time, Djokovic wins that match in 4 sets, but it was the way he won it. Is that going to be playing on Carlos's mind, the fact that it was so physically taxing for him?
For the sake of Wimbledon's final, I hope not. I hope it's not.
Well said.
Because I think that for those 2 weeks, there was so much build-up on the draw where they were like, Carlos is playing against Novak in the semifinal, that when we finally got there, it was so anticlimactic because I don't think he physically actually deterred. It was the problem. It was more mental. I think he was having cramps because there was so much nervous energy, because it's abnormal for him to start cramping after a set and a half or 2 sets. You know, he's supposed to be one of the fittest guys on the tour, if not the fittest. So I hope it doesn't. I also think that right now, like Daniela said, the most important thing, Carlos is not coming in as the favorite to win this final. He's coming in, even though he's #1 in the world, he's not coming in, people believe that Novak is going to win. Novak's the one who hasn't lost in 4 years. Novak is the one who hasn't lost in center court since 2013.
10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? The numbers are ridiculous. So I really hope it doesn't change anything.
Danielle, what is this run as you've witnessed it? I think you've seen a lot of Novak's tennis this championships. Wawrinka, Hurkacz, Rublev, Sinner. He's just felt locked in, and that's what he does at the majors, right? He gears up as he goes.
And he just plays better and better with every single match, and by the time the second week is coming to an end, he's playing his best tennis, and that straight set win over Sinner, that was the most impressive one. And also against UB Hurkacz, who is an excellent grass court player. He beat Roger Federer here in his last match. So he didn't have things easy, but he managed it really well. And what's very positive for Novak, you know, sometimes we go through the matches with him where he gets really mentally negative out of nowhere, and he didn't really have that many all those occasions. And as Sanya said with Carlos, in Roland Garros, it was so much probably about the mental cramps that caused him then to feel so tired physically. And to me, before that happened, that second set was one of the best second set matches in men's tennis that I've ever seen. So I think the quality today, I just can't wait for 2 o'clock and get this match on the way, because it is going to be absolutely stunning.
Okay, so Alcaraz says, and I'm quoting here, that Novak is a complete player. He's amazing. He does nothing wrong on the court. Physically, he's a beast. Mentally, he's a beast. Here's a look at Carlos and some of the stats that his team is going to dissect before the final. But how does he, on a grass court against a guy who's owned this cathedral for the last 4 straight Wimbledons, how does he make a knock on Novak today?
You know, I think he's been doing really well by staying aggressive. And I don't personally think that being defensive is going to win him this match. That's just not something that he can do, because Novak is the best defender in the game. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's going to have to serve really well, even though obviously Novak makes a lot of returns. And I think that it's going to be key, because I feel like if he keeps serving well, the only vulnerability that you sometimes see in Novak's game is on that serve, like if at all it comes in. And in a big match, look, I said I understand that Novak's a genius. I mean, that's his road to the final. You can see it's been a pretty similar road, actually.
Yeah,
like Novak, they've both lost 1 set in 2 matches. And but the only difference is Medvedev against Medvedev in the semi-final. I just felt like Alcaraz really did peak. You know, he peaked in that semi-final, which is where you want to be before a final. You want to be playing your best tennis in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely Carlos has to be aggressive, and he will also remember the match they played in Madrid. That's altitude, that's super fast.
That's super fast,
and
yes.
he got through that, and this is where having Juan Carlos Ferrero in his box is going to help big time, because he's one of the smartest coaches out there, and for sure he would have watched so many matches of Roger beating Novak, more than Rafa beating Novak here, because that's how Carlos likes to be compared more to actually Roger, because he plays so much more aggressive, and the transition to the net game has been something they worked so hard in the last 2 weeks, because that really needed to be tied up during Queens, and he starts to be very comfortable at the net. He will need to come today, I think, big time, but he just has to be careful when, especially picking where the targets where he comes in. I would say to go more to Novak forehand, because the backhand, we know what's
I don't think he's
there.
missing a backhand there. No, but I also want to say it's very refreshing to see 2 players playing each other, and Carlos Alcaraz not being shy of showing how enamored he is, because he's probably grown. I mean, he's 16 years older than him. He's probably grown up watching Novak win so much. So it's really refreshing to see. But then when they come on the court, they're going to be competitors, and Carlos is that successor of these big 3 and big 4 that we've had.
And that's such a beautiful thing to watch with Carlos when he is on the court, that, he's got that #1 status and a Grand Slam winner already behind his name, but at the same time, it's the same like when he wins points. It's, I should be doing this. I'm #1 in the world. And sometimes it's like, did you guys see what? And I think it's the same with Novak. Like, am I actually really going to play him today?
Yeah, okay. Well, it is going to be fascinating to watch. 16 years between them. The hill is packed, but also some of the best seats in the house. They're in the Royal Box, and our very own Anne Kiathavong got a special tour.
As you can see behind me, the finishing touches are being made on centre court for the final day of play. And here I am in the best seats of the house, the Royal Box. And I'm delighted to be joined by Tony Allen, the manager of the Royal Box. Tony, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. And can you explain what your role is here at Wimbledon?
Yes, looking after all the catering provisions for the guests of the Royal Box, through from lunch and the very famous afternoon tea.
Yeah. And I bet you've seen it all, because you've been doing this for a number of years, haven't you?
23 years, yes. So, yes, some great memories, great memories.
And who have been your favourite guests?
Goodness, an honour to meet President Clinton.
Wow.
Boris Yeltsin, and just so many famous people.
So many famous people, but you all, obviously the rules, if you do get that golden ticket to the Royal Box, there are some rules that you have to abide by, and there is a dress code, isn't there?
There certainly is, yes. A tie and jacket for gentlemen and smart for ladies.
And for those who are lucky enough to receive a Royal Box invitation, can you just talk me through their day once they arrive?
Yes, on arrival they would be shown their seats and then back onto the landing for champagne reception, and then they're called through for lunch. Lunch is quite early, and then out for the tennis and in for tea, more tennis, evening drinks.
Well, it is such a special day for all the guests who do come here. And we do have, obviously, lots of famous people who come in and sit in these incredible seats to enjoy the tennis. But the royal family as well, they sit in the front row with the chairperson. I mean, are there any certain rules that guests have to follow when we have members of the royal family here?
Not really, no. They're very relaxed. They're here to enjoy their day as well as all the other guests. But obviously, it just elevates everything when we do have a member of the royal family present.
Yeah. Well, Tony, thank you so much for speaking to us. I can't wait to see who the guests will be today. It's going to be a cracking final.
Well, very excited, obviously, Anne, and getting that tour of the Royal Box. We've got actually a choreographer, a member of the choreography royalty with us. Jabeur is here with us, and I think it's your very first time at Wimbledon, is that right?
Yes, it's my very first time.
And how is it so far? How are you enjoying yourself? I mean, this is a pretty tough spot we're in, right? Center court side.
Yes, I'm a little scared also, nervous also, but super excited to watch the match.
Yeah.
Are you a Novak Djokovic fan?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry.
All good.
And are you supporting him today, or who have you been supporting all these years? Roger, let me ask you that question. Rafa, Roger, Novak?
Actually, I used to like Federer a lot and still like him, but now he's retired, so I've switched to Djokovic.
You switched to Djokovic.
Well, how about the most important thing? Do you play tennis yourself?
I've tried, but I'm very bad at it. Like, I've tried it. It's not my thing.
So more difficult than dancing?
Yes, of course.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
For people who don't know, he's a great dancer.
Yep.
He's a great dancer with a lot of followers on his Instagram.
Yeah, I will say, are there similarities between what you see the tennis players doing out on court and what you choreograph and dance yourself in performances?
Both has stamina, but I think this one, it's very difficult. Like, in dancing, you hardly dance for like a minute or something, especially now when reels have started, you dance just for 30 seconds. But this is tough. You need a lot of stamina for this.
Ask us which is tougher. We'll tell you dancing is way tougher.
I think, but also the main difference is you've done Dancing with the Stars, haven't you?
No.
Okay.
I've done one episode and I was horrific.
And it's so hard. And yes. Well, the thing is, we are not used to the cameras. Like, that's what you guys tell us. Like, oh, make sure you know where the cameras are. Where here you have to ignore them and just kind of forget, right?
Yeah. See, everything has its own thing. Like, so for example, if I'm a dancer, for me dancing is easy. If she will dance, so she will take time. It's like muscle memory. You take time to learn something. Like, if I start tennis, I will take time, but I think I will kind of manage it. So yeah, so everything has its own time.
But I think it also helps, like, once you're an athlete, you kind of pick up everything in an easy way. The muscle kind of connection works easily.
No, not for me. But I like that he's confident that he can learn tennis. That's really good.
I think I've played badminton probably, so I think I might manage. And I play football also, so I have stamina. So I think I'll pull it off. I feel so, but I don't.
I'm going to take you up when we go back.
Yeah, well,
okay, so
I will
we'll give you 12 months and we'll report on your tennis next year.
Let's work on your tennis, and then I also want to see some dance moves from Sonia too. When are you guys doing a crossover? Come on.
I know this is a live show, but can we cut?
Okay, I will put you on the spot today. It's Novak Djokovic going for history against Carlos Alcaraz, just a young gun. He's only 20. What do you think is going to happen in the final?
So I really like, someone who's really young and is trying and giving his best, because I was the one who started off young, and I also got fame when I was really young. So I'm excited for him as well. Like, my favorite is Djokovic, but somewhere I want him also.
Give us a name always.
Okay,
you can do it.
You can't be like neutral here. Okay.
I can't be. I will be biased. So
okay, he
Djokovic.
says Djokovic.
Yeah. Okay, well done. I think that's what we all agree here.
All right, so very happy to have you with us, Jabeur. Yeah, and enjoy Wimbledon. It's going to be a really cool experience. I think, are we going to check out now the last couple weeks at Wimbledon? Is that what's going to happen? Okay. Oh, okay. All right, whatever you want. We're going to stick here. Okay, well, this is kind of the last couple weeks at Wimbledon. Awaz, thank you so much for chatting with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
This is a look at the women's draw from just this Wimbledon, and Vondrousova able to come out on top against Aorangi Jabeur in straight sets just yesterday, creating history. Vondrousova did, and did so in strong form. That was really cool to have Awaz here chatting with us about all things Wimbledon.
He is, you know, they come from a very, very famous influencer family. I think all of them put together have over like 150 million followers. Like him, his brother, his sister-in-law, everybody is someone there, and they're a really super talented family.
So no pressure when you start, you know, doing your dancing moves.
We're waiting for the choreography.
Just few people will be watching that.
If I start.
No, but it's
not when I start.
It's amazing to see the similarities, but also the difficulties. I mean, it is so hard.
I'm such a bad dancer. Like, I know people are like, oh, no, you're an athlete. You should be able, you have coordination. I'm like, I really have no coordination.
You're a good dancer.
I'm so bad.
You're a good artist. You're a pianist.
Look, you would think you have a little bit of rhythm, but it is so hard because it's actually opposite of what we are trained to do on the court. You know, like you have to be stiff and you have to be strong, and the dancing is kind of
loose.
It is, yes, exactly. So it is not that easy, but yeah, let's chat about tennis.
Yeah. Okay.
More comfortable with that.
So we're gonna look back at the next couple, or at the last couple of weeks in a minute. But this is my favorite part of the show. We've only got a few minutes left here on Aorangi Hour. We're an hour away from the men's final. Awaz is picking Novak Djokovic. Let's do our daily debate. We won't talk about our picks from yesterday, but let's go ahead and say Alcaraz, Djokovic, and why?
I go Novak, experience, 16 years older. He loves to be in this situation. He loves this court. Obviously, he forgot what it feels like to lose here for a couple of years. Just looking around, some clouds are coming in.
They sure are.
I think he would love for the roof to be closed. I think that's going to be in Novak's advantage if that happens. And I'm going Novak all day long. It might go the distance, but I'm thinking 4 sets.
Sanya Mirza?
I'm going for Novak, yeah. Just considering the occasion, considering how much he wants this, considering how well he plays here, considering all things. I don't know how many sets, but I honestly feel like he's going to bring his best tennis, which we haven't seen yet. I feel like Novak is going to bring, even though I feel Carlos is going to bring close to his best tennis as well, because I really hope it deserves to be a really good final. So, but I think Novak's going to win that one. Are
they thinking about these matches at all? These two matchups?
I think Novak will. And I think that that match proves to you that how much stronger mentally Novak is. You know, because he's not the one who cramped. He's not, and the cramps were not physical. It was not because of physical exertion. I don't know if best of 3 sets counts here. You know, I just feel best of 5 sets, Novak's a different beast. So you cannot, you know, compare a Madrid best of 3 sets to best of 5 sets final.
And also in finals like this, where it is best of 5, as you say, Sanya, it's about a few points here and there. Both guys are going to play their best tennis. I think there's no question about that. And that little difference, it's just experience. It's the age and just being on the court in these big finals a little bit more than Carlos. Will Carolito win here? Yes, many years to come. There is, I think, no question about it as long as he stays healthy. But I feel like this year, it's still a little bit too early and too much of a difficult task to be asking from Carlos, even though he's playing unbelievable tennis himself as well.
I do. I agree with you. Just for TV's sake, well, actually, I believe this in a lot in this, is that Alcaraz really does have a shot today. I know you're saying that he does.
No, of course he does.
I know you're saying that, but I also think that Alcaraz, that win in Madrid, and the way that he beat Novak, I think that it is helpful when you know that you can beat someone when you've done it before, even though the conditions are quite different.
And he has not played much tennis there, Novak, before going into that match because of the COVID and all of that. So, you know, this is a different situation, and this is center court of Wimbledon.
Also, Novak didn't win a tournament until it came to Roland Garros for the year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he won in Australia, and then he didn't win after that. So there was a solid 4 or 5 months in between where he did. So you have to take all those things into consideration. Having said that, though, do I think that in a best of 5 sets match, Alcaraz has the same chance that he does in a best of 3 sets match? I don't think so. I don't think so, because to beat Novak in a best of 5 set match, you need to be playing at a certain level for 4.5 hours. Yeah. And in a best of 3 set match, it doesn't come down to it. And it's simple math there. So I just feel like Carlos is going to win, like Daniela said. Is it going to be today? Maybe not. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. You've never been wrong before, though.
No. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Oh, whatever.
I will say we've had a great couple weeks here on Aorangi Hour with Sonia, of course. Also, Adam Hunt was with us for week 1. Daniela Hantakova has been our star guest as well. The whole team here, we've enjoyed it. The hill is packed, and we know we're now just an hour away from the whole family here at Aorangi Hour, including our team on the ground and in the gallery. I see the Wimbledon Orchestra is getting ready to play just behind us, and we're going to play some championship tennis today. Center court takes center stage. It is the men's final. Let's take a look back at 2 weeks of memorable tennis here at Wimbledon.
Welcome to the 2023 Wimbledon Championships. The All England club looking glorious under blue skies here in southwest London.
3, 2, 1, go. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching around the world.
Slow one out wide, serve and volley. What do you think?
A nice shot at tee. By far the best grass court in the world.
How are you? Very emotional to come back here.
Great to have him around, even if his sense of humor is terrible. Such a thrill. I'm not used to hitting the ball and speaking, sorry. But haven't missed the ball.
Welcome back to Wimbledon, Threads. Fashion fans, we've got the tea.
Just behind me, we've got centre court. And Svitolina defeats the 5-time Wimbledon champion,
Roger Federer. Murray victorious once again.
Hope you're doing well, Roger.
Billy is watching, and I was going to ask her, what should I do, you know? I swear I was going to turn to you and say, like...
We're going to catch up with some of tennis' best loved stars.
Crazy about tattoos.
No. Can't confirm I do not do it. That would be a disaster.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Play has begun on the outside court, and the sun is shining.
The hill is popping, the champagne is popping, and we are back for round 2.
What a display by Tsitsipas. What a cruel end for Murray.
And British hopes of a deep run in the men's singles into the second week at Wimbledon are over.
While there isn't a dress code for the rest of spectators at Wimbledon, there is a strict dress code for the Royal Box. Men must wear a shirt and tie, and a smart dress code is required for women.
Tennis. Let's chat tennis.
Well, I am so glad that Wimbledon is finally here. I'm at Wimbledon.
There's a little bit for everyone.
This is definitely a bucket list thing.
And we've got rain. We have got rain.
Fresh off the practice course, you can see the sweat. I would say dripping off him, but not.
This court, you feel something special. The most beautiful court that I played.
The defending champion becomes the red-hot favourite.
16 years old, she's pulled off the biggest win of her career.
Very good.
Ready for this Wimbledon now? I get emotional even thinking about it, so I'm going to move on.
And there it is. The siege-slaying exploit of Marketa Vondrousova continued.
Probably it was the most lucky shot ever.
I feel like I'm living a dream right now. It's unbelievable. I can't believe this.
I know I'm not even allowed to touch the grass.
I'm just a big fan of you, so, just like...
I know that they want to get a scalp, they want to win, but it ain't happening still.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming out again.
on the players' lawn.
Centre court rises as one. The world #1 through to the semi-finals.
Something that she has wanted ever since she picked up a tennis racket, to be a champion.
There is the classic Ralph look. And you pop the collar.
Oh, it's unbelievable finish. We've got the final we wanted, really.
Vondrousova is the unseeded champion.
Then guess what? The rain's coming down. Should we run for cover?
Let's go inside.
Typical.
Wow, look at this.